Mr. Rod Martin, big-time winner of the tickets. I'll be in touch with you after the show.
Think he's from where? Up north there somewhere?
I'm not. He
Doesn't say.
He didn't give me the. Text me back, Rod, so I know where you're from. But congratulations on winning the tickets today.
Yeah, we need a place to send them. Number one.
Well, it'll be email. We're going to email them. They're going to be email ready for them, so they don't have to worry about that.
I think the Attorney General and I did color coordination for yellow this morning. Which is, good morning. How are you? It's good to have you. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. Good morning, Paul. Great to see you too.
Good to see you, and you look good in the big chair there. And I thank you for coming in. Man, there are so many things. I'm reading stories every single day. There's a couple in here, little kids on a bicycle. She's in a park with some other kids. She decides to make one more lap. She's never been seen again. This just happened over the weekend. And that was, I think, in New York or someplace like that. But we hear these stories every single day. And we're talking about Connect and Protect from C Spire. But the digital dangers out there are so much more now. You cannot take them for granted. One of the things that you did was join in on a suit or a brief, and can you tell me about that?
We recently sent a letter to Pornhub, of course, because they are exploiting our children. It gives the opportunities for these predators or these rapists to upload material that involves these innocent children. Well, that's just unacceptable. So we have to go after them. We have to stop that because exploiting our children on every level, we see people doing it time and time again, and they're making money off it. So this corporation must cease this. We must not allow our children to be put in those very compromising positions. And you're exactly right, Paul. Look, our children day in and day out are being taken. They're being exploited. We work in our office. We run the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force with partners all across the state and then across the country to try to find these children, protect these children, to get them out of harm's way. It's a nonstop situation with these predators and pedophiles that are on the loose every day going after our children.
Here's another story. Children are disappearing from northern Ohio in record numbers. More than 1,000 minors reported missing so far this year. 1,000 minors in northern portion of Ohio in just this year. More than 45 children have gone missing in the Cleveland-Akron area this month alone. In August, there were more than 35 missing minors, according to the Ohio General Missing Children's Report. And nobody knows where they are. And most of them, they're not runaways for the most part. Most of these, they think they are in sex trafficking. And I cannot imagine the horror these parents are going through.
I know, Paul. When you see that time and time again, your heart immediately goes to these children have been trafficked. So many of these missing children are trafficked by someone that they love, some family member, someone that they trusted. And then they put them in these rings, and they do it for quick cash, and they do it for drugs. And so they don't have any concern about the lives of these precious children, these teenagers that they quickly traffic. And then the sad part is, then, I've talked about this, the sad part is once they get in these trafficking rings, it is very difficult. I mean, so it's all hands on deck with law enforcement, counselors, sexual assault nurses, everybody to go in and rescue these young individuals and then get them back into some counseling and to get them on a different pathway.
How does this Pornhub thing work? I mean, at the consumer level, how are they doing this as far as the pictures are concerned?
Well, the way they have it set up, and it's a loophole, they only have to, an individual who could be that predator or that pedophile only has to show a driver's license. There's no picture verification that that's actually the individual. And so from that moment forward, they can start loading these pictures where they've taken these children in compromising situations, photographs, and then upload those onto that Pornhub site.
And they've just about admitted that this is being used in the wrong way, haven't they?
They have. And so you saw a number of us, my Republican colleagues, we stepped up and immediately went after them and wrote this letter, and we'll continue to pursue them until this is stopped.
Isn't it amazing? I was looking at the people who have joined this, and I just mentioned Ohio. Ohio's not even in here. You would think they'd be part of that. California, Oregon State, Washington, New York, Illinois have not joined the effort.
Well, again, some states, for whatever reasons, but when you look at some of our democratic states, they are not very quick to join these arenas and these lawsuits where they should, because again, we're talking about children. We're talking about the lives of these children, the exploitation. These children, you can never get those pictures back. And so it's very horrifying to think that these companies put our children at risk, and they do it for great profit day in and day out.
And these people are very, very sophisticated. If it was bad before, it's going to be on steroids now with an open border.
Oh, absolutely. They're bringing people, those children are used as mules to come across to bring drugs. Then they're also then quickly turned into these sex trafficking rings. And so it's just going, you're right, it's going to be the domino effect. We can't find these children. We know that there are these horrific acts that are happening at the border, and that these children, these young teenagers, are moved into these trafficking houses. And so it's affecting all of our states. Now, Paul, we're all border states on every front.
Are you getting any indication that we're having some of these illegals at a higher clip than normal move into Mississippi?
Paul, we are getting some. I'll say that for sure. Again, because if you just look at the numbers, we're getting some of those into our state. However, in Mississippi, like I said, 50% are trafficked by someone that they knew, someone that was a family member. I suspect as the numbers continue to increase daily at the borders, we're going to continue to see more and more of those individuals in our state. And we have to be ready. We have to be prepared with our law enforcement, with our counselors, to really go in and try to rescue these individuals and get them out of harm's way as quickly as we possibly can.
There are some other things going on. You issued a following statement earlier, I think a couple of weeks ago. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of our state in the case of the U.S. versus Mississippi in reversing the lower court's ruling that gave the federal government the ability to dictate the way our state provides medical or mental health care. And that was that expected that the Fifth Court was going to do that? I mean, I knew it was lobbed up there, but it was good to see some common sense.
It really was. Our state has done a very good job of taking care and really putting into place policies and procedures for mental health. And we all know that is so important, not only in our state, but in our country. It affects so many individuals. And so we have been doing a very good job of making preparations, of providing that care. So when we knew when we got to the Fifth Circuit, we felt very good. We're certainly very excited to get that decision to come down from the Fifth Circuit. But again, it showed the work, the heavy lifting that is going on in Mississippi, and it shows the compassion that we have in our state for mental health patients.
So where does that stand now? Is that, are we finished with that, or do we have to go through another appeal process, or what?
It certainly could go through an appeal process. We have not seen an appeal as of yet from the other side. Well, we hope that it just stands so that we can continue to implement these good actions, these good policies to be protective and empowering for those individuals across our state.
There's a vast difference between the decisions in the Fifth and the Ninth Court, is it not?
Oh, my goodness. The Fifth Circuit is so conservative. Again, such a different viewpoint, very engaged in the true actions that each state is respectively taking. So, yes, we're very excited with our Fifth Circuit.
Let's talk about the Fifth Circuit and also the Ninth Circuit. But the Fifth Circuit also is going to rule again on our lifetime ban on voting. If people in prison, can they vote or not? Let's talk about that. It's another thing up before the AG's office when we return with the Attorney General Lynn Fitch, right? I don't think rolling on the rivers, there's no water to roll on the river, so we'll just cancel that out. No, let's talk real quickly. Where are we in that Court of Appeals in that one? Because three-judge met, they decided that we'd have to vacate that or something, or they decided that we'd have to go back and offer that to them, made a ruling against the state, and then the entire court wanted to, en banc, come back and rule on this. What is the status of that now?
So that's exactly right, Paul. That case was going to allow, based on that decision in a 2-1, that there was cruel, unusual punishment, and so the felon should be able to vote. We immediately petitioned to ask that the entire Fifth Circuit en banc hear the case. And so because we felt it was very important, constitutional, and so we felt like the entire court should be able to look at, review, process, and make a decision based on our Mississippi law. They have, in fact, agreed to do that, so we're looking forward to making that argument. And so in the meantime, the decision, the 2-1, has been stayed, so that will no longer go into effect where felons could vote. So there was a question about moving up until the election. Could they now vote? Not now based on the decision being stayed.
Well, and I'm a little confused on this. If we wanted to change that and go back on that list, maybe pull some of those off, the murders and the rapes, et cetera, I can understand. But there are some, I'm not sure if shoplifting or something like there's on there. But if we wanted to revive that list, we'd have to do that through an initiative, would we not? Or could we do it, the legislature do it?
We would. Certainly the legislature could take that initiative and go through the process and then through the ballot initiative. So it is quite a challenging and complex situation to go through, which is exactly why the argument, too, is our state put this in that Constitution, in the law for a reason, and so it is quite the process to undo that. So that's one of the arguments we certainly feel like the Fifth Circuit should hear.
And is there a time limit on that one, or it's not going to affect the election in November for sure?
It is not now. Once that order, that decision 2-1 was vacated, everything is on hold until the full en banc hearing, and we don't have a date on that as I know of right now.
I'm catching you, Cole, with this one, and you probably haven't even heard this, but in the show prep over the weekend, I saw this story also, and I wanted to bring it up during this visit. The FBI has issued a warning about a newly discovered pedophilic satanic extortion cult targeting children online. This is not only pedophilia, but Satan involved. I'm not sure how much deeper you can go. The cult uses platforms including Roblox, ROBLOX, which I've never heard of, Discord, I've never heard of, Twitch, I have, SoundCloud, and Telegram to find new victims. The FBI said the public noticed that the cult uses many names, including 676, 764, CVLT, Court, Cascar, Harm Nation, Leak Society, and H311, but continuously evolves and forms subgroups under different monikers. And the story goes on, but it is a little scary.
Well, Paul, that's alarming. Again, you look at these groups and they are on the attack of our children. They see that is a complete area that they feel are weak and that they can go after. I'm not very specific with this one, although I will say we see so many of these different groups and we work together so well with our federal partners, our FBI, our Secret Service, and down the line. And so we'll certainly all be taking a look and try to bring them down, because if you're allowing these pedophiles to have access to our children, you add the satanic component on there, again, that puts our children in danger time and time again. We've dealt on a number of different areas with different satanic clubs, different satanic groups that want to be in our schools, that want to change our car tag. So we know that they're out there and they're continuing to push, but this is taking it to a level which is very broad to go after our children and to endanger them.
It probably in a couple of weeks or a couple of months will be mainstream, just like drag queens and gender modification, boys and girls bathrooms. 15 years ago, we never thought we would get to a country like this, but all of a sudden something becomes normal.
Well, you're exactly right. You'll see certainly our office and other groups come forward with a Women's Bill of Rights for our legislature to look and to pass, because to your very point, Paul, we don't need to have men in the bathrooms, in the locker rooms with our girls. And so that should never happen. They shouldn't be playing on the same team sports with them. And, now this administration is even trying to push it further. They're trying to allow men to be in domestic violence shelters. So again, we're on attack on every level, but we certainly can't allow this to happen to our girls, our daughters, our granddaughters, nieces, whatever the case might be. The boys should not be able to be in those rooms, in those locker rooms with our girls.
Looking at the clock here, it's almost out of time. I haven't even asked you, is there anything else that we want to mention here that's on front and center?
Absolutely. So today's the big day, Paul. We're kicking off the Mama program. The Mama program is very exciting. Again, kudos to our legislature. They passed this as the first in the nation, and we're going to be running it through the Attorney General's office with our partners. This is it's a website, and then we'll come out with an app in the early into 2024 that will allow young mothers or mothers to get right on, figure out where their resources are in each respective county part of the state. That'll show different areas like pregnancy resource centers, job skills, where the health care for her child, food, adoption services, safety, many of those components that these young mothers need to understand and have a resource. And it's going to be comprised of public, private, faith-based, different organizations that provide these services to our mothers and to their children.
And where's the information on? Is that information on the internet?
Absolutely. It's at mama.ms.gov. You can go right there. And if you are interested in being a part of the program, then you can fill out the form and send that to us. We've got that on there. We're looking for all of our resources because, again, this is how we empower and we help these mothers, these children, is that we rally together, we stand strong for them. So we would appreciate any and all help and allowing and pushing people to go to this site. I mean, it's organic. We're going to continue to grow it because as we find more resources, we find additional ways to help these mothers and their children.
Is corporate sponsors part of that, or?
We will definitely have some private resources. Absolutely.
Well, while I have you here, anything as far as the 2024 session that you're going to be bringing up?
Well, certainly we're going to be talking about the Women's Bill of Rights. We have another many other bills that are supportive for the Empowerment Project. Again, we have to move forward with child care in our state. We have to have quality, accessible, affordable child care. We've got to move on that. We've got to continue to strengthen our adoption and our foster care system because we've got to get those children into loving homes very quick as opposed to leaving them hanging out there for years and not getting them into the home. So that's going to be a big push for us as we work on that. We were very blessed that the legislature passed the Foster Parents Bill of Rights this session. Again, strengthening the capabilities, hopefully enticing many other parents to become foster parents to be there for these children. So that's going to be significant for us as we go into the session. And then, look, Paul, just as we've talked about all morning, cyber, we're going to come forward with a lot of other cyber strengthening bills that allow us to go after these criminals, these predators who are taking advantage, of our children, of our elderly, of our businesses, because we're having to police the internet superhighway. And so we're going to need all the laws that we can to protect and then to prosecute these individuals.
Well, good luck, because something called AI is probably going to make it even more difficult unless you're using AI too. So it's unbelievable what. As a matter of fact, who was it? There was somebody putting the word out that it was not him on a commercial that they're using. I forgot what it was, but I think we'll see that more and more. I did hear Trump pitching. I'm not sure if it was a mosquito company or something the other day, and so people are doing this in small markets, but on a national basis too, using other voices.
They are. We all have to be prepared and try to be steps ahead of them and be proactive because we know it's coming. And so we've got to be very engaged in how do we prevent and protect.
They could take your voice right now from the show and cut a PSA that would be totally contrary to what you would do. And that's real scary. But we just got to be more sophisticated to understand what's going on.
We do, and we have to have our recourse ready to go. We have to be, again, very prepared, have all of our laws, have our capabilities to go after these individuals, these groups. It's going to be challenging, as we know, but certainly we have to be ready to move into that space and be ahead of these criminals.
Well, when you need to give voice to that, please call on us anytime.
I will. Hey, Paul, we have one other great thing that's happening this week I'd like to mention so that our listening audience, One Pill Can Kill is kicking off this week, so I need everyone to be engaged so that we can save lives because fentanyl is real. It killed 237 Mississippians, lost lives.
And not getting any better.
Not getting any better. So we have to all work together to eradicate this opioid epidemic in our state.
Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Paul.
JT Mitchell, News Director, SuperTalk.